أسۍ کَرو آز کوٗشِش بہٕ کَرٕ آز کوٗشِش کٲشِر پٲٹھۍ کَتھ کَرنَس اگر کینٛہہ لفظ اورٕ یورٕ گژھن تہٕ تَتھ دیٖزیو معٲفی اِن ایڈوانس آز چھِ للیشوری ماتا للیشوری ہُنٛد جنم دِوس تہٕ مےٚ چھِ بَڑٕ خوشی تۄہہِ ساروی ہیوٚکوُ ٹایم کٔڑِتھ یہِ اِوٮ۪نٹ سیلبریٹ کَرنہٕ خٲطرٕ ماتا یہِ ایکچُلی اِنِشیٹِو اوس ہیوٚتمُت اِنڈیاہَس منٛز اجے پنڈِتا جِین یِم چھِ کشمیٖری سماج سیوِکٕکۍ مٮ۪مبر تہٕ تِمو چھُ اِنِشیٹِو ہیوٚتمُت تہٕ ساری گلوبلی تہٕ بیٚیہِ اِنڈیاہَس منٛز تہٕ سارنٕے آرگنایزیشن دوٚپُکھ کہِ یہِ سیلبریٹ کرو أکِس ہفتس خٲطرٕ تہٕ ییٚتہِ سِڈنی منٛز اَسہِ کوٚر ڈِسایڈ أسۍ کرو ایٹ لیٖسٹ اکھ دۄہ وِچ اِز ٹُڈے آز بوٚڑ دۄہ ماتا للیشوری وور ووت تہٕ ماتا للیشوری واکھ یِم چھِ بَڑٕ اِمپاٹنٹ تہٕ ریلوینٹ یِم ٲسۍ ریلوینٹ 700 ؤری برونٛہہ ییٚمہِ وِزِ یِم چھِ لیٖکھمٕتۍ چھِ تہٕ وُنہِ تہِ آز کل یتھ ٹایمس منٛز تہِ چھِ یِم واریاہ ریلوینٹ تہٕ تَمہِ کِنۍ آی تھِنک اَسہِ پَزِ سارنٕے یِم واکھ پَرٕنۍ اینڈ اِنفیکٹ آز کرو أسۍ پَرو یِم واکھ بوزناوو أکِس دویمِس یِہُنٛد مطلب سمجھو تہٕ بیٚیہِ اَسہِ پَزِ کوٗشِش کَرٕنۍ کہِ یِمن واکن ہُنٛد یُس مطلب چھُ یُس گوٗر میٖنِنٛگ یِمن چھِ سُہ کُنہِ طٔریٖقہٕ ہٮ۪کو أسۍ پنٕنہِ لایفہِ منٛز پنٕنہِ زندگی منٛز عمل کٔرِتھ تہٕ ایٖکولی اِمپاٹنٹ چھِ آی تھِنک یِم واکھ اَسہِ پَزن یِمن شُرٮ۪ن سۭتۍ شِیر کَرٕنۍ تِمن بوزناوٕنۍ بیٚیہِ تِمن مطلب سمجھاوُن اینڈ تاکہِ تِم تہِ ہٮ۪کن پنٕنہِ لایفہِ منٛز فیوٗچرس منٛز یِم عمل کٔرِتھ پنٕنہِ زندگی منٛز آی تھِنک آن دیٹ بہٕ کَرٕ رِکویسٹ اُروشی جی تہٕ راہُل جی تِم کَرن پروگرام سٹارٹ شُکریہ
Thank you, Sharad ji. Namaskar. کیازکہِ مےٚ سونٛچ أسۍ آسن ہمارے ینگسٹٲرس أسۍ آسن تِم ما آسن سۭتۍ اسلیے تِم شاید ہٮ۪کن نہٕ کٲشُر ٹھیٖک پٲٹھۍ سمجھِتھ یا ہِندی سمجھِتھ اسلیے بیک گراوُنٛڈ تھوڑا سا یُس بیک گراوُنٛڈ أسۍ کرو شِیر سُہ روزِ اِنگلِشس منٛز سو دیٹ دے آلسو فیٖل اِنکلوٗڈِڈ وی آر آل ٹُگیدر ہِیر اسی لیے بیٚیہِ اَکہِ لَٹہِ نمسکار. So understanding and studying Laleshwari is an eternal journey, and perhaps one lifetime is just not enough. Yet, this is a humble attempt from our side. I ask for your forgiveness for any shortcomings or errors that we may make. I'll be sharing a little bit about Lal Ded's early life, followed by Rahul, who will share with us how Lal Ded's philosophy remains an eternal and important perspective even in today's modern life. Lal Ded was born at Pandrethan, about 4 miles from present Srinagar, which Emperor Ashok had founded long back as capital of his kingdom. Lala's father, Pandit Chandrabhat, was a rich Kashmiri Pandit, and it's said that or some historians believe that Chandrabhat lived in Sempur, a village near Pompur or Pampur. According to family traditions, Lal Ded received her early education at her home. Her family guru was one son, Sedamol, a noted scholar with a mastery over Trika philosophy, besides being a saint and highly pious. Lala received her early knowledge in spiritualism and religion from Sedamol, whose instructions she absorbed comprehensively with much devotion and seriousness. After some years, Lala's wisdom matured. She was possessed with much knowledge on mysticism and was more advanced, they say, than her guru. Her guru was spellbound with her prudence and insight of her knowledge. Lala was married at a very young age to a Brahmin boy of Padmanpur, present Pompur. She was now known as Padmavati. The age of joy was over for her, and she was surrounded by the restrictions of married life. In her new home, which she entered after her wedlock, there were no signs of peace anywhere. and Lalla endured many difficulties during this time. After undergoing these hardships, she one day, at the age of 24, left her home and wandered into the forests. It's said that she often remained immersed in the divine and hardly had any body consciousness, even reciting her mystical words, absorbed in her philosophy. Lala did not subscribe to exhibition of any religion or faith and insisted that it's a journey within. She admonished the traditional followers of religion to keep away from empty and outward rituals and understand the eternal and the absolute by giving or diving deep into the inner mind. Lalit made her point very clear from time to time, and which is apparent in her works as well. She did not believe in blind faith, nor she had any faith in idol worship. Her main objective was the search of Shiva or Ishvara, with a yearning to get merged into the eternal bliss and truth. With that, I hand it over to Rahul.
Thanks, Urvashi ji. Once again, Namaskar, Sarnya. Uh, Building on what Urvashi ji and Sharad ji has already said, I would like to provide some insights on the research that I've been doing from past few days to understand the importance of Lal Ded in our modern life. And the intent here is that hopefully this message will resonate with everyone, particularly our younger folks. So Lal Ded is referred as a mystic poet. The question here is that who is a mystical person? Who is a mystic? A mystical person is someone who is committed to search for the deeper contact with God. Now, there are certain people in every religion, in every era, in every tradition, who achieve that in a supreme way. And these are the people who are called mystics. People like Augustine in Christianity, Kabir in Hinduism, Guru Gobind Singh in Sikhism, Gautam Buddha in Buddhism, and of course, Lal Ded are supreme exemplars of finding God in a deeper way. It's often said in our scriptures that whenever there is a disorder in the world, God finds ways to restore the order by sending his messenger or avatar. In the 14th century, when Kashmir's century-old system of administration was dwindling and new setup of Islamic leader was getting developed, the way of life which had established in Kashmir due to combination of philosophy of Buddhism and Hinduism disappeared. There was a confrontation. The ideologies clashed, and people found themselves in cauldrons of uncertainties. People found it difficult under these circumstances to ascertain and identify the right direction. On one hand, there was old conventions and traditions, and on the other hand, there was Islamic thought. People were at crossroads, and the wise felt discouraged. One of the noted Kashmiri scholars and well-renowned author, Mr. P.N. Bamzal, in his book, and I'm quoting these words from his book, writes that in the religious turbulence of this period, there was a need for such a change that make people understand religion, and more importantly, to be accommodative, to influence the heart more than the mind. Lal Ded was born in this period, which was passing through these turbulent times. Lal Ded had realized the truth. In her mind, there was no discrimination of Hindus and Muslims, caste and color or race. The real thing is the realization of the self through which God can be realized. Mata Lalleshwari's main objective was the search of truth, which is immortal and eternal. Lal Ded used the medium of poetry for expressing these ideas. She spoke vaks. The dictionary meaning of vak is a sentence. A vak is based on 4 or sometimes more than 4 lines, and the beauty lies in the brevity of these compositions. The eloquent, meaningful, and the relevant vak open new avenues to teach and guide people who were engulfed in the darkness of superstitions and prejudices in those times. And this gives Lal Ded a special status and marks the beginning of Kashmiri poetry from this era. And that's why she is quite an important personality in our culture. This event is a small attempt to not only create awareness of our rich Kashmiri heritage, but also helps in the quest for deeper contact with the God, which will hopefully help us become a better version of ourselves so we can perform good and moral deeds and in turn make this world a better place to live. On that note, I would like to pass to our team of passionate volunteers who are eager to recite walks and enlighten us with their in-depth meaning and how we can adopt them in our day-to-day lives. Our first member to recite walk is Rakesh ji. Mr. Rakesh Thakur, over to you.
Thank you, Rahul. And firstly, namaskar, everyone, once again. Firstly, I'd like to commend and congratulate Sharadji, KPA, NSW team for this wonderful initiative. It was really heartening to see us taking this charge as well in Australia, and taking this opportunity to celebrate Lal Ded's life. I think like Urvashi ji and Rahul ji very eloquently gave us a very good description of Lal Ded and the time she was born. For me, she's the Kashmiri poetess, the first Kashmiri poetess. She was an enlightened being. I would like to share some more, some more thoughts and ideas that I have read about her, which are so basically interesting in the sense they tell us how true and rich her poetry was, that it remained basically got transferred from generation to generation for nearly 400 years. First time, I think it was in 18th century, there was a scholar by name of Bhaskar Razdan who first collected 60 of Lal Ded's works. That's in 18th century. And then in late 20th century, we had Greason and Stein Greason was a linguist, was a Westerner. He was doing history, let's say research in Kashmir and the people of Kashmir and so on. So he had collected another 60 walks. So all up around 110 walks were documented by Bhaskar, Greason, and Stein together. And then there were later there were other Hindu scholars who did a lot of work on Lal Ded. And by I think by 2014 there were around 277 walks penned down, which have been allocated, or which deemed to have come from Lal Ded herself. There are some which are questionable with the language that was used during Lal Ded's time, which does not sync with some of the commentators that have commented on this. So that's a little bit of some more flavor on the history of the works. But for me personally, she was truly an enlightened being, because the depth and the words, the power that they carried for 400 years, just being transferred from mouth to mouth, and they were so rich and they were so true to people that people remembered them. So with that said, I will start the proceedings. How I'll do it, I'll recite a vak, and then we'll do a translation. I'll do a translation and a meaning of that vak, and we go from there. So the vak that I have selected is I'll now switch to Kashmiri. I'm sorry, Sharadji. I think I'm fine, but we'll deal with that. The vak is Akui Omkar Yus Naibid Dare. Akui Omkar Yus Naibid Dare. Sumi Brahmandas Sum Kare. Now, Sumi Brahmandas Sum Gare. Akui Omkar Yus Naibid Dare. Sumi Brahmandas Sum Gare. Akh Omkar Yus Setas Kare. Tat Saas Mantar Kya Kare. It's so beautiful. So what it's saying here is, we all know, I think in our Hindu tradition, the power of Omkar. It is the primordial sound. So here, I think what Mata Lalleshwari is telling us is about the power of this mantra. And she's giving us an instruction as well in this walk. So what she's saying is, one who uses this mantra Omkar. And Nabi Dare, Nabi is your navel, and Dare is establishing, stabilizing there. It's the source. Navel is the source of our life. So one who establishes this, the sound of Omkar or the jap of Omkar, the ucharan of Omkar at the navel. And Sumi Brahmanda Sumgare, it's like one who is joining then to the whole cosmic consciousness. Brahmand is cosmos, is the whole universe. Sumi is joining. Sumi Brahmandas Sumgare. Sumgare is carving the path, is forging the road. It's forging, so from individual consciousness, one who gets connected to the cosmic consciousness. Akh mantar yussatas kare. So one who gets absorbed in this mantra. Temisas mantar kare kya. So that person, the seeker, he achieves perfection. So this individual consciousness merges with the absolute. So it's basically she's giving us a way how an individual with this simple, not so simple though, with the jap of this mantra Om, can become one with the absolute. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakeshji. I think that was quite wonderful. It sort of also reinforces the concept of moksha, isn't it? I think it has got connotations with our Gita, Bhagavad Gita as well. So that was quite enlightening. The next one is our enthusiastic volunteer again. Asha ji, over to you.
Namaskar Sarni. Achu mata sun param do. Pe sari miljul ke karom waq paro. Am khot nasib chun am khot qismat wal chineskin. Bad qismat wal iski we could connect together and हम ललेश्वरी माँ के बारे में कुछ बात कर रहे हैं. मैं छु वाक पूछनाउन. आम्य पन सदरस नाविचस लमान कत्य बोझी दाइम्योन met ditar amen taken pon zan shraman zu chum brahman gargatsa. ये पढ़ के मुझे कुछ हो रहा है. I'm getting goosebumps. ये चेतन ललेश्वरी मार्च करान ऐसे ये नाव श सन लाइफ. Sadras means ocean, means ये world. The आमी पंचु बड़ सु fragile thread. तो इच करान compare की सन जिंदगी छ अक थ्रेड से अगर आप मतलब किश नाव करो लमो तो सुतार अपोर समंदरस तो सुता मुश्किल छ इथे बड़ सन लाइफ या जिंदगी मन छ बड़ मुश्किल बस अचकरान भगवान तेम्स दायसु नाव सुई करे के ऐसे के मदद युथे सन नाव ते गसे तरे अपोर पछ आमेन टाकेन पोइन जन श्रमान zu chum brahman gargatsa. It put him touch na मतलब कतरिव टर्क आसान unbaked. Tim अगर पनिस मस त्रावान छ तिम छ गसान रलित पनिस मस. Tim छुन किहिन रोजान कैरेक्टर न किहिन. Tim छ नखान ह्योरी खसित. Tim छ मेलान अथी पनिस मस. इथे पठन की लाल मगान दवा भगवान मैं मटेरियल वर्ल्ड मंस करते में दूर मैं कसने किहिन येत्युक बस मैं छु अकोय भ्रम सनिक में पौनु घर परम परमेश्वर निश. That's it. Amen taken points and shraman zu chum brahman gargatsa.
Thanks, Asha ji. I think I could vividly see the emotions coming through when you were reciting these works. That was beautiful. Thank you. Great. I think the next one in the line is our energetic Sonia ji. Sonia ji, over to you.
Sonia ji, you're on mute. We couldn't hear you.
Sorry, namaskar everybody. I am very, very humbled and pleased to be joining in. मैं कोशिश करती कश्मीरी में बोलने की, but I wouldn't be doing justice. So please forgive me. The vak that I have chosen, but before I recite that, I also want to share कि मुझे इससे पहले ज़्यादा ललदेद के वाक के बारे में obviously पता तो है, but मैंने कभी इतना ध्यान से पढ़ा नहीं है. So when I did a quick search also to see what would ring to my heart, I was amazed at the quality, because now that I am in a field of academia and we keep emphasizing concise writing and the ability to articulate yourself in a meaningful way, I'm just really surprised with the quality of the vak that used to flow easily from her mouth. हमने सबने सुना है कि how she used to be such a good orator, and she would just connect with the divine and things would flow. So the one that I have chosen today is Ayas Vate Gayas Navate Swaman Sate Lusumdo Chandas Vuchum Har Na Ate Navya Taras Dimkyabah, which translates into that I came from the right path, but I did not walk on the right path. Swaman Swati Lusumdo. Watching before I could do anything, I was at the embankment and I saw that the day is over. So I came from the right path, but I didn't walk on the right path. And before I realized, the day was over. I looked into my pocket. Chandas Vuchum, Harna Iti. There was nothing in it. And I was wondering, Navis Taris Dimkyab, what should I give to the boatman or to the ferryman who I was waiting to go onto the ferry and climb onto that. And I realized that the day was over. I have nothing to offer. So this is the literal text. This is the literal meaning of what she said. But like we know, all good poetry has bhavarth or gurarth, which is hidden. And what is she meaning with that is that I came into this world the right way, which is us being born. And we have to understand that in the context of our dharma, which talks about the 4 stages of life, which is your kam, arth, and
Moksha.
no, it is first it is, I think the first one is the education stream. So
Dharma, arth,
dharma, arth, kam, and
moksha.
moksha. Thank you for stepping in. And the idea is that when you come into this world, you start off with collecting knowledge, understanding what is the context, why. So you illuminate your thinking and you start collecting all of that. So that is your dharma. You do practice your dharma. You get into the second stage, which is arth. You collect financial well-being and you collect the way to live a life in a respectable manner. And you move on to kam, which is when you actually have a family and you pay that rin of being born, of taking the resources of this world, and you move that forward and you pay back by having noble children, by raising family in a good way, in a righteous way, and then you move on to moksha. So in that cycle, Lalleshwari, Lalded is talking about, मैं आई sahi raste. I came here into the right in the right way, but I did not walk onto the right path, which means I didn't really collect the goodness that I was supposed to do. So you're supposed to move towards the path of moksha by doing all the right things, which is very difficult for a common person. Something like speaking the right way, reflecting, and sort of moving on in the right way to control indriyas, what we learn from even Gita, Bhagavad Gita. So ye sari jo cheezein hamare, we have to continuously self-examine and move on that journey. Before she realized it, she says that the day is ended, and the day is ending means the life will come to an end before we know it. And then when you look at yourself, you'll see that whatever we've got, whatever we've accumulated, the physical things will have to stay here. And Chandas, which I looked into the pocket and I did not find anything there to offer to God or to that Almighty to take me forward. So your karma, the way that we are supposed to continue that journey of self-development towards moksha, because we were not aware and we were not leading a life of awareness, I didn't do that. I saw that I had nothing in my pocket. And now what should I give to that boatman? What do I have to offer? Because obviously we don't go away from the world offering. So we can only offer our karma, the service that we do. We can only offer bhakti, the connection that we've connected with the God, with Almighty, which again allows us to move forward in that journey. So this has a beautiful meaning for me. And I think it will resonate with everybody who is thinking a little bit more deeply about what's the purpose of life? Why are we born? And at some points in time, we will get that opportunity to just pause and think, okay, so where am I headed? What should I do? What's the purpose? If we ask these larger questions, I think this sheds a lot of light upon that. So thank you for that opportunity to share.
Thanks, Sonia ji. I think that was again very enlightening. I think I really like that the stages of life before attaining the moksha. And this is the beauty of walks. Like they are so concise yet so profound in meaning. On that note, I will pass on to respected Reena ji's mother and Reena ji, who I can see on camera. Over to both of you.
Namaskar, Sarni. Once again, I couldn't do it initially. I couldn't get connected properly. So I'm glad to be joining this. And I would like to introduce my mom to everyone who knows her. And she has a special reverence for me because she's the one who introduced me to all the Vaks. Not all, but she often quotes them a lot of times. And I kept on hearing them, and she used to explain a bit about the meanings. Never got a chance to stay with her to know them more. So she knows a lot of them. Now with this initiative of KPA, I'm really grateful because I got to read them a little bit more and kind of understand them. And I am so impressed by the whole Lalled's life and mysticism and all these Vaks. They resonate with one's heart. Once you turn 50 and above, you kind of understand life a bit more deeply, that life has more to it than just earning or settling your kids. There's the spiritual part comes into foreplay. So I would like my mom to start with the Lalwak. Mummy.
Namaskar to all of you. मैं चूनी पोतेदार बोल रही हूँ. मैं थोड़ा सा ललवाक जानती हूँ पहले से ही, बचपन से ही मेरा इसमें बड़ा इंटरेस्ट था. So I am very impressed with those walks. So I am now introducing myself to you. I am going to tell you some walks. One walk I have to read. I don't know which she has selected. Salun chum uzmal trikarate trete. Salun chum mandhyanuk andkhar. Salun chum pan panun kadun grate. At hat malik संतोषवाती पाने. मतलब कि मेरी लाइफ जो है वो स्ट्रगल है. दिस लाइफ इज पूरी full of struggle. So I have to bear all the struggle in my life, whatever it is. So I have to go through it. And
And then so basically our lives are full of struggle and
Struggles
existence.
and
That's what Lala is trying to
that is
say.
ग्रट है ना, ये चक्की जो
हाँ।
है, तो यही चक्की मुझे चालू है, मुझे ये करना है, मुझे I have to go through
पीसनी है
this,
चक्की।
चक्की को पीसना है,
हाँ।
but I have to do it.
But-
और जो अंधकार है, जो ये संसार में अंधकार है, अंधेरा है, उसको भी मुझे करना, tolerate करना है.
And he will surely come to us.
He
will definitely
definitely come to
our help.
our help. मुझे ये संतोष है, I have in my heart that he will come definitely to help us. If we will bear all this struggle in the life, so he will, the God will come and he will help. That's all. Okay.
So now I will say another vak which I selected as well. It's about moderation in life. So kyan malya kunna vatak na kyan banak ahankari sommay ke malya sommay asak adkathe mutsrak barnan tari. So means eat in moderation and don't eat too much, because if you eat too much you won't reach anywhere, but if you eat in moderation, you would be if you be in moderation, you will open the gates of the gates to God. So basically, I think I really feel this is, I strongly feel with about moderation कि हर चीज में, हर काम में अगर हम moderate रहें, middle path लें, किसी में भी, खाने में, सोने में, पीने में, you know, in कर्म योगी की life में basically moderation is very important. So we should always strive to the middle path and live life, enjoy life, that again in moderation, you know, be spiritual in moderation. When you're a karam yogi, you kind of balance all the parts of life. So I feel in this Laldet is saying, what mummy said was try to bear and have endurance, and the next one says be patient and have in moderation do things. So that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you to both of you. Again, I think I'm just loving the interpretations. Yeah. I think we will move on. So next one is our talented Urvashi ji. Urvashi ji, over to you.
Talented. Okay. Again, namaskar. जो वाक मैं बोलने मतलब express करने वाली हूँ, it has many connotations to my own imagery and understanding of what Kashmir is. This gives me, as Asha ji was also saying when she was narrating hers, wo jo goosebumps aate hain na, because it there's a sense of so many things with respect to what we are doing today. It is not only celebrating Laldet, but also trying to see our own land, हमारी भूमि जो हम छोड़ के आए हैं, उसके कितने अंश हम, we're carrying it forward, and this just is that manifestation. And yeah, so मैंने ये जो वाक चुना, इसमें लैंडस्केप के बारे में बात की जा रही है, इस एस्पिरेशन के बारे में बात की जा रही है, द मटेरियल वर्ल्ड के बारे में बात की जा रही है, इनर एंड आउटर सेल्फ के बारे में बात की जाती है. सो मेनी लैंडस्केप्स, सो मेनी लेयर्स विच वी, आई मीन, बहुत ही छोटे तरीके से अगर मैं इसको देखूंगी तो देयर इज सो मच डेप्थ. एनीवे, सो इट इज, मैं गा के सुनाऊंगी. It says Lara lazım mazma dana indi indi kırması takiyeti da suro ziyeti tıbgası panas Unga vanas phalavade. अब इसका अनुवाद क्या है? She says in her, the first line says, Larah lazam mazmadanas. Even the way she says Lara is that expression of, it's an aspiration. Lara means lar, हम जो कश्मीरी में जिसको कहते हैं लर या घर मकान, बड़ा सा मकान, because she says Lara lazam mazmadanas. यानी एक मैंने मकान बनाया, एक भवन बनाया, बीच मैदान में. ऐंद ऐंद करमस तकिए तगा. चारों ओर से मैंने इसको इस तकियों से सजाया संवारा. I took care of it. बस सरोजी ये तो बगस्पाना, there's a realization there कि ये तो यहीं रह जाएगा और मैं चली जाऊंगी. वोइंगा वानस फालव दिथ, जैसे कि एक दुकानदार जाता है, गया दुकान को बंद करके. उसका मतलब क्या है? अब इसका भावार्थ क्या है? ये तो अनुवाद था. इसका भावार्थ क्या होता है? जिसको हम एसेंस भी कह सकते हैं ना. सो द फर्स्ट लाइन सेज जो लरा लज़म मज़मदानस, इसमें लर का मतलब घर या मकान से तो नहीं है ना. इसका मतलब है शरीर है. मतलब लर इज शरीर, और मंज मैदान के भावार्थ हुआ इस संसार में, है ना. सो दूसरा जो उसका लाइन है, इट सेज कि अंध अंध कर्मस तकिए दगा. इसका भावार्थ हुआ कि इस शरीर को मैंने अच्छे से सजाया संवारा. वी टुक केयर ऑफ इट इन टर्म्स ऑफ द बॉडीली मेकअप, राइट. एंड तीसरी पंक्ति है Surojiyetite bagaspanas. There's a realization there, and she said the essence of this line will be कि ये शरीर जो यहीं रह जाएगा और मैं चली जाऊंगी, which means जीवात्मा यानी कि सोल तो चली जाती है, लेकिन शरीर को छोड़ के चली जाती है, राइट. और the last line is वोइंगा वानस फालवदित, मतलब यहाँ वो जीवात्मा की तुलना यानी दुकानदार से कर रही है और शरीर की तुलना एक दुकान से कर रही है. वो कहती है कि ये जीवात्मा ये शरीर छोड़कर चली जाएगी और फिर दूसरा शरीर धारण कर लेगी. वैसे ही जैसे कि एक दुकानदार अपनी दुकान शाम को बंद कर देता है और फिर अगले दिन फिर से आता, मीन्स ही स्टार्ट्स अफ्रेश, है ना. सो बेसिकली the essence of this entire vak, which I understand and which is very clear in some way, is she's telling us to go inwards, right? Work on that inner realm, the जो आपका मन है, जो आपका अंदर की जो एक आत्मा है आपकी, not the outer realm, not the makeup of your self, but the inner makeup, which means which one can say the materialistic world, or कितने सारे ऐसी चीजें हैं जो कि we try to polish the inner through our spiritualistic journey or just ध्यान करके. So she's talking about this, the journey within, जो आपकी अंदर की आत्मा है, उसको आप कैसे how do you come to this point, to this realization that this is all going to be left behind. आप घर लेके नहीं जाओगे, आप मकान लेके नहीं जाओगे, सब कुछ, लेकिन जो लेके जाओगे आपकी अंतरात्मा है, उसको आप सजाओ, उसको संवारो, rather than आपके घर या मकान को, which is आपका शरीर. She's talking about the soul, the आप सोल को चिजल करो rather than अपने bodily self को, the शरीर को. So that is from me. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Urvashi. I think the way you recited the Vak, by singing, I think that was quite melodious and surreal. We will open the floor for everyone to sort of, obviously share their thoughts at the end of the session. But that was, I think that created a sort of great impact. Next one is me. So I have taken an uphill task of reciting the Vak, and I think I would like say upfront, similar to Sonia ji, apologies because my Kashmiri diction may not be the best one, but I will still try. The motive here is the intent. But before I go into the Vak, actually, I was very proud after going through these walks because I have been introduced to various famous personalities in Kashmiri culture, be it Lal Ded, be it Rukbawani, be it our other famous personalities. I never knew that there is walks. I think when we were sort of growing up, Kabir के दोहे होते थे जो हम लोगों ने पढ़े हैं, and that has also created a lot of impact. But I'm very proud that we had a similar personality in Kashmir. So that's great. The walk that I have chosen, I'll try to recite it. It goes like this. Kus mare te kasumaran. Kus mare te kasumaran. Mare kus te maran kas. Mare kus te maran kas. Yus har trevit gar gar kare. Yus har trevit gar gar kare. Ad marisu te marantas. I think, after going through this, and this is my own interpretation, and hopefully it will resonate with the meaning of this Vak. Anyone who believes in Almighty in God or has a faith in Lord Shiva will surpasses the fears of death or, leaving the world early. However, the one who doesn't have faith in Almighty and gets entangled in the world of illusions, that sort of line which says, Yus har travit. Har, I think it's basically Bhagwan ka naam, Shiv Shankar, Yus har travit. Gar gar karya, and that gar gar is this worldly illusions, is always afraid of death. And it focuses on the mortal bodies and immortal soul. I think the common theme which I'm seeing on all these walks, I think it sort of goes back to the same thing. It also had a profound impact on me because I can see the similarities in whatever is written and is conveyed through our other scriptures, such as Gita, because basically it's suggesting that death is inevitable and it's just a mere transaction of the soul. So why are you afraid of death? Just consolidate and combine into the Almighty, into the Absolute. I think that's in a nutshell. So on that note, I will pass on to our next enthusiastic volunteer, Sheetal. Sheetal ji, over to you.
Thank you, Rahul ji. Namaskar, Sarni. मैं भी इंग्लिश हिंदी कश्मीरी मिक्स में बोलूंगी, माफी चाहिए, और अगर मेरा इंटरप्रिटेशन वाक का would not be up to the mark, I also apologize for that. So my introduction to Lal Ded was in a very early childhood, and that was through my grandmother. That was a time when my grandmother and all the people in that generation were bearing the pain of leaving behind their lifelong belonging, their memories. My mother and my parents, they were feeling the pain of, what they left behind as part of their youth. And I was, as a child, trying to figure out where do I stand in all of this commotion. That's when my grandmother, I used to call her Bibi, she would, and I would always tell her, Baby, I love Nadru, but it has got so many hair in it, and I just don't like that part of it. And she was, it was a bit of a struggle for her because there was a grandchild, first grandchild, who she was not able to brought up in a place where she would have loved to. And all she could tell me was that it was when Laldat was very upset with her situation, she just threw uh, the thread she was supposed to make for her in-laws in the Dal Lake, and that's what is the thread in the Nadru today. It helped me to go on with my day, and but that reference kept on coming whenever she will try to encourage me to do something better in life, to make good choices. And she was my like first role model in life. So in her remembrance, and also I'm going to read a vak which is close to my heart. It goes like this. Kusbab to merge. Kusbab to merge. Kami lazi wajivat. Kusbab to merge. Kami lazi wajivat. Kal gasak. Kohna bab, kohna merge. Zernit kev, laji wajivat. What I could interpret from this was Kusbab. Who's the father? Kosmerj, who's the mother? So all these very close attachments you have in your life, and all the love and attachment you have with them, is a time-limited emotion. When Kal Gasak, when the time will come and you have to go and they have to go. Journey Kev, knowing this, Lezit Vajivat, why would you want to get attached to these relationships? So this really resonated with me. I lost somebody, I lost my dad a couple of years ago. And the one thought which kind of motivated me to go on day-to-day, in my day-to-day life, was this detachment. And this whole thought that eventually we all will be part of that Supreme One. And there will be a day when I'll meet my grandmother, I'll meet my dad. And till that time, I need to slowly build that detachment in me in my day-to-day life. With that, namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheetalji. I think that was very emotional, and I'm sorry to hear the loss. And hopefully you will continue to get strength as you will continue to learn more about these walks. The next one is Sharadji. Sharadji, over to you.
Thank you, Rahul. I think a couple of things before I recite that. I think it's amazing to see everyone getting together and reciting the love walks. They're so profound and so much packed in these walks. It's just amazing how we are able to trying our attempt to unpack it and understand it and relate it. My introduction to Lalwak was very late in life. I think after I came to Australia and accidentally found Reena had a book from her home, and I just picked it, and that is a lalwa. And then I looked at the author, and it was by Kotru, Mr. Kotru, Premnath Kotru, I think, and that I said, okay, that sounds a familiar name, and then I realized that's my mommy's, my elder mommy's father who had written that book. So I said, oh wow, I never knew all my life that he's so passionate about these works and has written, in fact, written a book about it. So that's it. I think other than that, again, getting busy in the life and never that. But this time around, and when Rahul just last week, Rahul, you mentioned that okay, there's an initiative being organized by Ajay Pantat worldwide, and can we do something? It's just last week, and we had a limited time, but again, I was sure that a lot of people will relate to this within the community, and a lot of people are passionate, and I can see that passion here while reciting, while talking about it. So I said, okay, well, we can do that. Let's see how we can put it together. And Rahul and Urushi, thank you. You came forward and put it all together. So, I mean, we're worried that we may not have enough time. So, okay, we said, okay, whatever time it takes, we'll just do the another round, because a lot of people, and Rakesh ji, you have so much passion about it and have been involved. So, I mean, and you want, probably you can go for hours if we let you to. Said, okay, we'll put together whatever we can, and for my part, okay, maybe I'll pick up a couple of walks and see. And I was going through the literature, and what I realized is quite few walks Lalta has written, and she has used this word mood, foolish people. So I said, okay, yeah, I mean, these all walks are so profound. So you really need to be intelligent to understand. And sometimes you don't waste, and some of the walks say, don't waste too much time on foolish people. They will never get it anyway. So while I was browsing through all these walks to pick up some, and I stumbled into this walk, which I'm going to cite. I said, okay, I mean, this is pretty straightforward. You don't, I mean, maybe she knew that there are dumb people and some people need to understand in simple language what it is. And I will just say that walk, and it does have meaning, but I think it is pretty straightforward as well. So the way it goes is Butikya Jan Chuk, Vandichai Kain. Butikya Jan Chuk, Vandichai Kain. Aslich kat zan sanieno. Paran lekhan wut ongich gaji. Andrim duiz zan sajieno. Andrim duiz zan sajieno. So I'm self-explanatory, but I'll just go through it. Butika Jan on your appearance, a person looks very probably intelligent, but inside you, Vandi is heart. That's like a Vandi coin. That is, instead of heart, you have stone. What she's trying to say is, you don't relate yourself. It's not. You are not able to. You are tough, or you are hardened person. Aslich kat za sani, you never make an attempt to understand the real truth. Real truth in the sense who you are, what's your purpose in the say. Then she elaborates, a person normally, Paran Lekhan, Woot, Ongij, Gaji. I mean, you spend all this time to read, write, try to be knowledgeable. But that wisdom is missing. You acquire a lot of knowledge, but you still not able to get to the truth. So, and the last line say, Andrim Dui, Zatsaji, so you are in inner turbulence, or your inner your darkness, pain, you are not able to get rid of that. So you are still unaware. So I thought it's a simple one, and if you read it, if you know Kashmiri, probably you will get it. So that's from me. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharaji, and I echo your sentiments. I think a few days back, we were not very sure that whether we will be able to pull this together, but the participation and the enthusiasm is quite phenomenal. Very proud of our community. So the last, but definitely not the least, is Vishalji. Vishalji, over to you.
Thank you, Rahul. Hearing all these walks, literally, it takes you to another planet, right? You're just wondering, what are we doing here, right? Goosebumps all over the place, and I mean, just simply amazing. So, as far as I'm concerned, me was various kalastan usne me pathui ki laldet kya chu word cha you osaka you osaka until I heard Laldet Hospital. So that thing, I quizzed about it ki kya chu kuch chu thoda bahut, but then with every phase of life it moves on. But जब से हमने ये attempt किया है, the more you read into it, the more you realize it कि how deep it is. परेशान हो जाते हैं कि ये कैसे पढ़ें, you have to be very careful. So मेरे से आख लाख attempt करमुच to pick up a walk, a simple walk. अगर खां गलती गए I seek forgiveness from Mata अगर कोई गलती होगी. The walk goes like this. Goras pruchom saisi late, yasn keh vanan tat kya nav. I'll read it again. Goras pruchom saisi late, yasn keh vanan tat kya nav. 1,000 times I asked my guru, how shall the nameless be defined? How do you define something that doesn't exist? The next stanza goes like, Pratsan touches the looses. Pratsan touches the looses. Kenas nishe kyathan dav. So the meaning is, I asked and asked, but all in vain. Pratsan touches the looses. I asked and asked again and again, but all in vain. Kenas nishe kyatham drav. The nameless unknown, it seems to me, is the source of something that we see now. So, यो छोटा सा वाक मैं तरफ से, privileged and honored to be here.
Thanks, Vishalji. Wow, what an evening. I think we had allocated 45 minutes, but I can see that we have taken more than an hour. I would like to sort of build on this momentum. I think this is open to floor now. Any reflections, broader reflections, or any sharing of thoughts? If anyone has, now is the time. Let's have an engaging conversations before we close this. I know that this is late, but I think it is still worthwhile if we can just have 2 or 3 minutes for this item.
Yeah, I'll go. Kuldeep, namaskar, Sarni. See, when I was listening for about an hour, I think I was trying to see that in other cultures as well, are there similarities? For instance, one was on minimalism. So I felt that there is something similar in Japan, etc., where that they also preach that we should not go overboard, what we say Wild West. So that is one. And the other one was definitely when we talked about when you're learning, but then does that really mean that you understand everything? So I think in Hindi, there is a doha, I don't know whether it is Surdas or Kabir Das, my apologies, but it says, that पोथी पढ़ पढ़ जग मुआ पंडित भया न कोई ढाई अक्षर प्रेम के पढ़े सो पंडित होए. So again, similar connotation. So it's more on love, but very, very deep, engaging, and thoughtful. And I think also I was thinking that is it important to have, like, I was looking at Lalda's life that was full of pain. So maybe she found refuge in the God and became a mystic. But while you are in your family lives, all happy, can you make that switch early on, before, it's too late. But yeah, that was my reflection. But thank you so much for this great evening.
Thanks, Kuldeep ji. I think you hit the nail on the head. The minimalism is the word which I also, was thinking of when I think Urvashi ji was talking about her walk. So yeah, I think you should be contented with what you have and, try to merge with the absolute. Yeah. Any other
I think
reflections?
Sudhir ji has raised his hand. Sudhir ji.
Yep. Yeah. First of all, Sarni, Satha Mubarak, you initiative in the KPS. Thanks to all of you for, devising and following through. This is really something that obviously you guys can build on, and participation badegi, so obviously there will be much more benefit. On the topic, obviously everybody, I mean, great contribution from everyone, and this shows that Sani community days, while we were growing up, we would see that as spiritual quotient was Badang community as people grew in years, but Lucas Mandli Karan, and then they would have satsangs and all that. So I show that that level but possible, but we are doing in whatever way possible. Obviously, using the spiritual side was Sukur Sari we cover lalleshwari in life, and I mean there is so much to it. Probably it will take. There is a lot that has been said about her. Her life is attributed around those 1300, so early 1300 to late 1300. She guzare with around 1375. She guzare with Kashmir. Kashmir mas gayi his death recorded came agar towards her end. She was not too concerned about her body anymore. That was the sign she was showing anyway. The I have been trying hard to find that waq my father used to recite, which is around the end of her life, where she is now not afraid of any mortal looking at her in the way she is, rather dressed or not dressed. But there is one person who is probably far away, but she can see her coming towards her, walking towards her up the street. And then she starts feeling that shame that she is not wearing anything. And because she can't find any clothes to put on at that point of time, she approaches the nearest shop, which is a kosher baker who has nothing to give her except her tandoor. So what she accept his tandoor. So he looks around, and she speaks to him and says that I'm not afraid of any mortal looking at me, but that person who walks up the street, his eyes are piercing, and I cannot stand that shame. I need a place to hide. Can you do something for me? So that Kandur actually had closed his business, but he opens the tandoor, and she leads herself into that tandoor. There's a waq that somebody else has said around this, but I could not find that. So that is one part I want to talk about. And again, this might be a meaning that has been attributed to her life by someone else, because as was brought up, there's a lot about her life which she has said, but she meant something else because there was another meaning to it, which was all that she did. That was one part, but I wanted to talk about the other part of her life. She was there in a period when the sword had stopped yielding the dividends it had been in Kashmir, in the political side of Kashmir. That was the time when the Sufis were being brought in to finish the unfinished task. So I'm in particular reference talking about Hamdani, Ali Hamdani, who were brought from Iran, whose job was to use that Sufi side of things. So I also, this is my opinion, and there are other learned people who might even disagree with my thought or my opinion on this. is that she did us a great service in that period when she stood up rather on a political side as well, providing a contemporary side to that Sufi onslaught in her traditional, uh, I would call it Shaivism, or people call it mystic. I wouldn't use that word. But she provided a very solid, suitable answer for people who were now on the verge of no, there was persecution. There was absolutely no way to go. Poverty was at its peak. She was from a rich family. Everybody knows that, but that was her Malun side. But overall, people were directionless. They didn't know what to do. She has done us a great service, especially to our community during that period, to prolong that steadfast resistance to that era. So whilst the spiritual side has been dealt with and has been, unfortunately, no Indian work has mentioned her, but foreign and Muslim history, lots of journals have mentioned her and have recorded this part of Kashmir's history, but no Indian work has recorded that, and that is sad. One European gentleman, probably a Hungarian or a Dutch surveyor in Kashmir used to pass through, and he has mentioned, but not many. But that's a different story. But what I wanted to bring out was she has this tremendous service to our community on both sides. Spirituality side we have touched, and the other side is that which I see as a giving that political strength to the community to stand up to that onslaught of cultural onslaught. So that was my story today. Thank you for listening, and a great attempt. I think this is definitely a very good feather in KPA's hat. Thank you guys for organizing.
Thank you, Sudhirji. I know it's late, but I would want to sort of go for the last time around everyone. Any other thoughts, any other broader reflections?
Well, just a closing note. I think I just wanted to let everyone know. Okay, this is a as I mentioned earlier, great initiative. I think it is a start. What we will strive to do is that we will do these recitation or talk about that more often. We do have Sharda gathering happening monthly, and we'll see how we can combine that or maybe something else. But definitely, it's a treasure. We have just touched, tip of the iceberg. There is so much more to know, understand, and not only for us, for the wider community as well. So we'll see how we can bring that together and do this more often. And a thank you note to definitely Rahul and Urushi for leading this and bringing this together. Yeah, that's all for me.
Yeah, I think this was a segue to closing note as well. Sharadji, I think you've already done the honors. So I think yeah, on that note,
Sonia has something to say. Sonia, you there?
No, not really. I just was clapping for the initiative taken by
All right.
and Urushi, but I also want to thank you all, and maybe somebody who didn't get a chance or didn't recite the shlok, if anybody else would like to, it was nice to hear Sudhirji's Vak. I've also heard of that Vak. I mean, the interpretation of that. So a lot of things that were translated to us by our grandmothers and grandparents were like, even if they didn't recite the Vaks, they stayed with us in terms of stories or in terms of situations of and how Lalleshwari was a notch above everybody, and how how her interpretation of Shaivism was so relevant, and it has so many broader connotations. I mean, she's a thesis worth. I mean, you can write books and theses on her life, because it's not just in the sense of her relevance in terms of the spiritual being that she was. She was doing so many things which were relevant from a cultural, socio, pluralistic, societal perspective, which obviously we can't even touch upon, but it was nice to recite meaningful shlokas. And I love the way that everybody's shlok was all different, touching on different dimensions of our lives, but yet it had this thread cutting across, which was really about understanding what's the true meaning of life, how do we lead a more meaningful life. So really enjoyed the richness of the vaks that everybody had chosen. Thank you.
Thanks, Suryaji. Yes, I think the inclusion of this in the Sharda group, I think, is a great idea. I wasn't sure. I think, Urvashiji, when you were reciting the vak, you were using the music, and the way you were sort of singing it, I think that was quite, the poetry itself is concise, but it's very profound. But if you sing it, I think it sort of has an everlasting impact. So maybe I think, watch this space. There will be sort of next steps. We will see that how we can continue this tradition. This is just the beginning. So yeah, so I will just pass it to you, Sharadji, for the closing note, and we will end this great evening.
Well, thank you once again, everyone, for your participation. It's heartwarming to see that so many people are interested and people know, and people who didn't, they made an attempt to learn, recite, and join this event. So on that note, yeah, thank you, and watch the space. We'll definitely attempt to do something similar to continue this tradition. Thank you.
I want to say thank you for the opportunity, as well as thank you for everyone, including Sharadji, you, Sheetal, for just always being there whenever we wanted to kind of discuss this. Thank you very much. As I said, I mean, as everyone is saying, we hope we can continue the tradition in some form, because there is a wealth here. And yeah, I mean, just on that note, thank you so much, everyone. Thanks.
Sharad, sorry, Amitabh here. Sorry, before we go, sorry, I am late. I'm sorry. He wanted to say something.
I was just listening in with my parents, and I just wanted to say that it was just beautiful to listen to everybody translate Lalled's poetry in their own way. And I think it's a testament to how everybody can share their unique perspective and, share how they resonate with her poetry in their own unique way. And I think it's just, that's what kind of brings everyone together, their own unique perspectives, and it forms a really nice shared experience. So I just wanted to share, thank you all for I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for sharing their own, ways of connecting to her poetry, and it really forms a holistic experience as a listener. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Amitabh.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Thanks.
Namaskar. Bye.